Okay. Okay. And we're live. Oh, what a day! I tell you, I don't know where you guys are all joining us from, but we're in the wet, soggy state of Pennsylvania right now. I mean, it's not as bad as the tornadoes down south, and we pray for everybody that's out there. But to tell you something, Dr. Mark, before we even jump in, it's kind of a little friendly talker before we kind of jump into attracting your ideal client is a solution. I know we've had some friends with basement problems and
Yeah.
swamps and lakes out back, so.
I've sucked a few gallons out of my own basement with a wetback.
Yeah. So the first, so first things first, I just want to kind of take a quick digression. Forgive me, Dr. Mark, but I just want to say, look, I hope if you're joining us, well, if you're joining us today, you're actually seeing this. So I hope whenever you're joining us, you and your family are safe and sound, and that the tornadoes and everything that's happening across the country right now with this weird, wacky weather, 5 inches of rain and foot of rain, it has not overly affected you. So our thoughts and prayers are with you, and we hope that you and your family are safe. Now, for the real reason you joined is to figure out, I'm not laughing about that, you'll figure, if you haven't seen this already, we like to have a lot of fun here in the Professional Practice Builders Society. So we're going to do for about the next, 20, 25 minutes or so, we're going to talk a little bit and give you an overview of this month's Professional Practice Builders Society. What should we call this, Mark? Because it's the theme for the month, but can we come up with
Yeah, it's the theme.
better?
It's the theme for the month. It's we're doing a good job of building our editorial calendar and to pick a theme and stick with it for a month and really kind of dig deep into a topic and help people really have some good takeaways that they can use in building their professional practice. I think we've got a darn good theme for this month, Chris.
So do I, Dr. Mark. And by the way, just to let you know, since we're all friends here, note to self: don't wear a light blue shirt when you're chroma keying in the background.
Are you turning translucent, Chris?
Well, I have a very 70s looking shirt.
Is your
right
head
now.
sort of floating disembodied right now? I can't see it. So
No, it's I look like I've got a nice 70s sheen going on here. I got the iridescent shirt action going on. So note to self: wardrobe change coming for part 2. So first things first, you guys should all see that we have a whole lot of fun here. So and here's one of the things that we're very comfortable in our skin, and that's what attracts our ideal clients to us. It's maybe not their problem, but it's one example of how being yourself will attract your ideal client. So, Dr. Mark, before I babble anymore, why don't you dig a little bit deeper into
all right,
it?
I will dig a little deeper into our theme. So yes, we are talking about attracting your ideal client, and our little catchphrase here is that the problem is the solution. And so what we're talking about here is the fact that we talked about it a little bit last night on our Wednesday night show about the fact that you don't really want to be marketing yourself by leading all the time with what your product or service is or the category that you're in. If I'm an attorney, if I just talk about being an attorney, I'm just an attorney. I'm not, the perfect expert solution for my ideal client. So we're talking about leading with the problem that your client has, because your client knows that they have a problem, right? We are all in business to solve people's problems. And we are talking about how to create great content around that problem so that you can attract your ideal client to you online through your that you're creating, and then of course become your ideal client by converting and come on into your real live space. So we've tried to break this down for you and create a system that allows you to kind of think through the process, and we call it the IDAP system. So what is IDAP? Well, there's a kind of a 4-stage process when you're trying to figure out what to talk about on your blog or in your video or in the content that you're creating. So the I in IDAP stands for identifying a very particular problem that you know that your ideal client has. And we're sort of skipping the stuff that, because we've talked about it so much, I'm gonna assume that you've been paying attention and that you know that you have to spend a lot of time figuring out who your ideal client is first. So assuming you've done that and you've dug in deep to that, then you start to have a sense of what their problems are. So identify a particular problem, then really kind of define it. What is this problem? What is the problem that this person has, and what's the outcome that they're wanting to have, so that you can kind of be clear about that. Then it becomes a matter of, can you break that down? Can you break the solution to that problem down and articulate it in a step-by-step way so that your ideal client can follow what you're teaching, but in the teaching of it, you're demonstrating your expertise. You're demonstrating that you know what you're talking about. And then the P in the IDAP is to package that now into a form that you're going to deliver to your ideal client. Whether you're a blogger and you're going to map out a series of blog posts that are going to help teach this articulated step-by-step process, whether you're going to do a video series, whether you're going to create an information product, that's all the cool stuff that you can do with IDAP. So that's kind of our theme for the month, right, Chris?
Yes, it is. And Dr. Mark,
yes.
I hate to say this,
yes,
but I think we're having a little bit of Google YouTube technical difficulties
Uh-oh.
right now.
Are we being fought with?
No.
Now what's into a form that you're going to deliver to your ideal client, whether you're
Okay, so folks, you're now seeing a very frozen screen if you're actually still listening to our voice, which I hope you are. You've got me with my eyes closed and Dr. Mark with his mouth open. It's kind of a
oh dear,
it's
that doesn't sound very attractive.
It's kind of a bizarre picture. Give us a second. We're going to try to fix this, and we will be right back. Okay, we should be back live in a second as soon as I get the word from.
Take your word for it.
And we're back. So sorry for the technical difficulties.
Gotta
folks.
love technical difficulties sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, we just keep smiling here at the Professional Practice Builders Society. So Mark, you were talking about IDAP.
I was talking about IDAP, so I don't know where we cut out. So I will recap IDAP. How about that?
Well, here's the thing of it. The audio, everybody should have heard the audio, so it was just kind of the video we were having some issues with. But just to get everybody back on the same page, why don't you just summarize IDAP again? What does IDAP stand for?
Sure, I'll go real quick here. So IDAP, again, we're talking about attracting your ideal client using problem-focused content marketing. IDAP is a way of organizing your thinking about the process of creating that content. So identify the target problem for your ideal audience, the problem they know that they're experiencing. The D in IDAP is that you're going to spend a little time defining that problem. What is the real problem the client's having? What's the outcome that they hope to achieve in resolving that problem? The A is to articulate now a step-by-step approach where you're going to help that client understand what they need to do step-by-step to achieve that outcome. And of course, you're teaching them how to, step-by-step move toward you as part of that solution with your products and services. And then P is to package the content sequence you've just mapped out, that articulation, into a form that you're now going to put out on the web, whether you're going to blog, whether you're going to do video, whether you're going to create an info product, whether you're going to write an ebook. There's lots of options in the packaging, and it's not an either or. You can do all of the above by layering the content you're going to create to get found and help that ideal client engage with you and find a really cool solution to a problem that they have. Yeah. And all of that, yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. I'm just riffing at this point. So, and that just kind of is a way of trying to get some structure around this so that we're not just being theoretical about, hey, go out and create great content. This is a step-by-step approach that you can kind of take to think your way through and get organized about it. Because we've been talking for a while, and we were talking last night about the fact that you want to focus on problems because your client is always going to know what their pain is. They're always starting from that pain. They tend to go online to search for information and resources around that pain. They're not necessarily already jumping to the endpoint and thinking about the solution. So if you're just marketing products and services, that's several steps into the articulation. I would have to already have decided what I'm going to do about my problem, and I'm already in shopping mode at that point. And so in my way of thinking, you're kind of late in the game if your marketing is trying to catch people when they're shopping for your product or your service, because you're not the only game in town, of course. And so now you're going head to head against all of your competition.
Well, and it's interesting because, I think a couple of things. One, I hope you all take from this that, a system is very important now, even for people who might not like systems. I mean, Mark and I are very free flow thinkers. So sometimes systems can be a challenge. However, when either we come up with a system or when a system is presented to us that really makes sense, which allows you for creativity, allows you for free flow thought, allows you to be you, but then also get great results. Those are the systems you have to look at. And that's one of the things that I really like about this IDAP system that we've come up with is it really does take you through a step-by-step process and allows you to focus on small chunks while still being, while still being out there and being, be able to how can I put it? To be flexible, I think is the best way of putting it. But it also gives you some, some milestones, so to speak, and some real, demonstrable things that you can do. You think about the first step, identify. I mean, while it sounds like it makes common sense, I know, a lot of times, a lot of business owners I coach and work with don't really get, kind of skip that. It makes so much common sense that they kind of skip their ideal client's problems. They look at it and go, well, everybody has this problem, so let's not focus on the ideal client's problems. Or they go, well, look, we're a doctor, we're a lawyer, we're a dentist, we're a criminal lawyer, we're this, we're that, and people will just know to come to us. And it's like, yeah, there's yes, but, and it's kind of like, if we were all criminal attorneys that were, it's like, how can I put this? After that famous trial with the white Bronco, if you wanted a criminal attorney and had millions of dollars, you knew the names to go to because they were gonna help fix things, I guess. But
if the glove fits, you must acquit.
Something like that. But I guess the point I'm trying to get to is this: is the fact that we aren't like that, and people aren't out looking, as you said many times, Dr. Mark. People aren't out looking for us. They have their own pains. They're out looking to solve a pain point. And the closer we can get to identifying our ideal client's pain point, the closer we can get to resonating with them, and the closer we can get to, for them to understand us and to come and find us when they actually need it. And these are some of the things that we talk and teach about, in the Professional Practice Builder Society. In fact, this IDAP system we're going to go into depth into the IDAP system, I don't know, about 15, 20 minutes from now in our members only webinar. So
right.
It's something that, if you're a member, stay tuned. It's going to be great. If you're not, you'll have a chance in a little while to join us on the inside. But Dr. Mark, what else can we say right now about the IDAP system?
The reason a system like this is important to make yourself go through the steps and think it through, and Chris, you were just kind of talking about this, and I'll just put it in a different way of phrasing it. One of the big problems that we have when we have a lot of expertise is that we forget what it's like not to have it. We forget how to think from the client's perspective, and there's an awful lot that within the niche that you're already an expert in, you take for granted. So you almost can't help but, after a few years of training and practicing, you can't help but be thinking in your own brain in a kind of jargon, in a sense, and it's not the language that the general public necessarily use. So you start to assume that everybody knows what you know, or at least certain aspects of what you know, and they don't. And so you've got to go through this exercise, that I of identify and that D of define. You've got to really dig in a little bit and say, wait, if I weren't an attorney, if I weren't a coach, if I weren't a massage therapist, if I weren't a psychiatrist, if I didn't know the background that I have, how would I think about my pain? How would I describe it? How would I define it? And what is it that I'd be looking for in the initial stages of researching for help in that? So the reason for working through step by step is that we have to get out of our own heads, and we have to get out of the knowledge base that we have, so that we can lead the person who's not on the same wavelength and not having the same conversation that we're having in our heads. We've got to get into their conversation and then lead them step by step to the conversation that they should be having that will lead them to the solution that they actually need to have. So that's what this is all about.
And here's another example I just thought of. I mean, you think of anybody who does websites or who knows a lot about websites and the technologies and Google and SEO and SEM and PPC and CPA and A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. I just actually ran through the whole alphabet in about 10 seconds. Woohoo! But anyway, the whole point is this, is that when you talk to most people who know that, they are so ingrained, and they look at it so simplistically, even though inherently they know it's not simple, and they remember the time. They remember the time when it was tough for them to learn it. It's one of the things that in what Dr. Mark and I do with folks. not only help them create great content, but also help them, take their websites to the next level, that sort of thing. We really pride ourselves on, if either one of us starts to think of it too simplistically, we just sit back and remember what it was like to first learn it, remember the hours and the days and the weeks and everything that went into getting it. And then we realize that it ends up, we realize that that's where everybody's at. And in the end, when you forget that and when you start treating things as too simplistic, that's when you start to stray further and further away from your ideal client. Wouldn't you think so, Dr. Mark?
Well, too simplistic, or the flip side too complicated. If you're too many steps down the road already in what you're trying to. I mean, even literally in what you just said, Chris. I mean, we can easily forget that when we're talking about content marketing, that not everyone really understands what content marketing is. I mean, the fact is we're talking about creating information. We're creating and packaging forms of information that you're putting out on the web, be it blog posting, be it social media posting, be it doing video, doing live streams like we're doing right now, publishing ebooks. Those are all forms of content. And that's a kind of jargon, right, that people start to say, well, we're talking about content marketing, as if everyone knows what that is. Or they say, hey, are you using an SEO strategy or a PPC strategy? And people are like, huh? What's SEO and what's PPC? Okay, those are jargon that people start to use as a shorthand when they're talking to their colleagues about something. So search engine optimization versus pay-per-click has a shorthand meaning to the people who create those kind of campaigns for people, but not to everybody else.
Well, here's another great example. In fact, it's funny. I was, while preparing for today, I was watching CSI last night, and it was interesting because part of the reason I watched is they had Patricia Arquette is back on television again, and she did a great job in Medium for a long time, and I kind of wanted to see what they were going to do, and it was also interesting to me because she played a cybercrime investigator, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because if you think about it this way, there were two investigators talking. In other words, the Ted Danson character was talking with the Patricia Arquette character. And they're both crime scene investigators. They just investigated differently. So he was asking her about how she did her job, and she went into this real deep technical explanation about the deep web and all this other stuff and algorithms. And he's like, and that means what?
Exactly. Can I get the subtitles now?
and the interesting thing is that if you look at that, that's a great sample because we all get in that mode. Or even like if for those of you, I was a big Stargate SG-1 fan when it was on, and if anybody has ever seen the show, Richard Dean Anderson, who played MacGyver before he played Colonel Jack O'Neill. And the interesting part was he was very, very simplistic about everything. And they had a couple of doctors on the show that would explain things at a very, very deep level. And he'd just go, aish. So if you have a customer in front of you going, aish, you're probably not identifying their ideal client or their ideal problem. Even if you are, and here's what I mean by that. You might think you've identified their ideal problem. But if they don't understand that you've identified their ideal problem,
then you haven't.
Then technically, no matter how good you are, you haven't identified their ideal problem. And before you can identify it, you have to start by identifying and then defining the solution and going through the steps of the IDAP process, because it leads you down a path so that once you've resonated with your clients, you can take them from resonation to action. In other words, they resonate with you, you get them to act, and you get them to use your service when they're looking for something. And then eventually you'll be the one on the tip of their tongue when they need other services. But to get in the door with your ideal client, you need to identify, and you need to identify their pain point, their problem, because that's what's going to resonate with them much better than, unfortunately you are. Now, you may be a very nice person. We like you. You're here. You probably are a very nice person. Unfortunately, not going to help. I'm not out looking for a nice person to solve X issue, right, Dr. Mark? I'm looking for solve my issue, and then I'll figure out if you're nice.
I have pain, and well, yes, I want you to be a nice person too, but that's a bonus. What I need is a solution. I've got a problem. I need a solution, and I'd like you to have a good bedside manner, but I'll put up with an awful lot if you really have a killer solution to what I'm struggling with. And so I'm going to invite you guys to say, if you enjoy what you're listening to right now, if you are trying to build a professional practice and you're looking for a place to get some good information and some good advice about how you can create great content, how you can build a powerful web presence, that's what the society is all about. And in just a couple of minutes, we're going to be going inside to our members-only webinar. Where we're going to go into depth teaching our members how they can start to really implement this IDAP system to start taking concepts and really putting it into practice so they can start creating great content for themselves, attracting their ideal client into their practices and growing their practices. So it's not too late for you to join us. You can simply click a button essentially and become a member of the Professional Practice Builder Society and come on in and join us for today's webinar. But you get much more than a webinar, right, Chris? I mean, we have an entire monthly cycle. We launch it with today's webinar. We have the weekly tip show that's available to anybody on Wednesday nights. We've got this monthly Google Hangout here, this live stream Hangout here, where we kind of give you the concepts for the month, and then we actually have a live event every month that we do the third Thursday of every month. Did I miss any moving parts, Chris?
Oh, probably there's like 8,372 of them at this point. None the least.
Right. Chris has to keep all the nuts and bolts of the moving parts together with bubble gum and duct tape.
And I'm juggling right now. If I had juggling balls.
And sometimes Google, or YouTube makes our life difficult as it glitched today. So.
And technology is always fun. And I was just juggling the balls in the air. You can't see me, Mark, but I'm juggling.
I can't, but I could feel it. I could feel the energy of your juggling. So that's why I figured I'd just kind of poke at you there.
Yeah. So here's the thing of it, folks. I mean, we know that the reason you joined us today, or the reason you're watching this video maybe after the fact, is that you want to build a professional practice. Whether you're a coach, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a doctor, a dentist, somebody out there, the people listening to us, you have a practice. It could be struggling, it could be successful, and you just want more. We would love for you to come inside and be part of the Professional Practice Builder Society. As Dr. Mark said, we've got a whole program that's set up. We have monthly themes and monthly target points that we talk about and we teach on and we mastermind on, and people learn on and grow on and make definite strides. I mean, we have members talking about that their spouses are actually making strides just because of the information they're taking on. We're watching members' businesses grow every single day, and we would love for you to be a part of it. We start off every month, the first Thursday of every month, with a webinar like this. It's a half hour. It ends up being about 20 minutes to a half hour to the public, and then we go inside for somewhere between 60 minutes and 90, maybe 2 hours. It all depends. We'll do a lot of teaching.
All depends how verbal we are.
Well, we do a lot of teaching, and then we open it up for the members to do Q&A if they want. Now, this is just a standard Q&A session where we'll answer any questions that there are based on the teachings for the month, and really, our goal is to push our members forward. Then for members, we have on the third Thursday of the month, we have a live in-person meeting in Pennsylvania. So we'd love to have you fly in if you're not in Pennsylvania. But we have an in-person meeting that's a mastermind. So for those of you who know the concept of masterminding, this is a true mastermind where we sit there and we pose great questions. We get the group's involvement. We get people to talk. And then we also have some hot seat sections where we work on specific business issues. It doesn't even have to be related to that current month's topic, but it's specific business issues that will help propel you and your business forward and get you from where you are to where you want to be. So here's what I invite you to do. If you're watching this on YouTube, okay, first thing, if you're watching this on YouTube, go to ppbsociety.com. You see the link below. And then above, when you get to that page, on the top of that page, it talks about the monthly hangout. It talks about the monthly live webinar. Go to that link, and you should be able to continue seeing us. There's going to be a little bit of a delay, but there should be a way to join the society right there on that page. If you do that today, we're going to send you the information. We're going to get you in on the inside, and you'll be able to join today's webinar, today's members-only webinar as it happens. If you're watching this on the society webpage, if that's where you went first and you don't see that button, please click refresh, because there might be some technological issues going on, and the button or the link should appear at the bottom of the screen.
I know it's there because I'm looking at it right now, but I'm a good example of that. Chris had to remind me to clear my cache because I was looking at the history of the pages I had visited, and so it was showing me the old page. I refreshed it, and boom, there it was magically. We are speaking, and there's the instant access button right there for me.
Yeah, exactly. So, Mark, anything else I mean, this is kind of, and I guess let me kind of wrap this up by saying this because what you all will see on the public webinar is right about now, a couple minutes left before the top of the hour. We do a little wrap up and then we just start a little bantering, a little behind the scenes, getting ready for the members only, that sort of thing. Today we talked about IDAP. We talked about why the IDAP system is important to you, your business, your customers, and to growing and having a thriving practice in 2014 and beyond. If you'd like to learn more about how to implement the IDAP system and what the exact steps are and how to go deeper and further and far and faster, click the button, join us on the inside, and join us for the members only webinar. Mark, before we kind of wrap this, anything else you want to say?
No, that's it. I mean, join us. We are happy to grow with you and help you grow, and we're having a lot of fun. We love to play with technology, obviously, and we love to help our members learn how to take advantage of our trial and error, so that they can build great content to grow their own practices. So that's what we're talking about. That's what we're going to continue doing, both on the public side and on the private side, on the inside. But you really want to join us to get the good stuff in the webinar, and the live event is just a great place for us to get deep into your business and your practice and bring it to life with the personal side of things. So no, that's about it. I think we've covered what we're going to cover for our live hangout here, and we're going to move inside in just a minute.
Excellent. So that kind of wraps up the public. We're going to be kind of bantering a little bit, getting everything started. And feel free to stick around and join us. You might see something that we didn't expect, but that's okay. We're all friends here, so we look forward.
Or you might listen to Chris and me just kind of geek out for a minute as we get our tech working.
Yeah, could be, but maybe not.
Maybe not.
Okay. I'm going to switch over to, and Mark, I'm going to end up switching over to a, yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm going to switch over to a what you call it for the actual, oh, this is, okay, that's what I'll do. I'm going to switch over to a slide here real quick, just to,
okay.
So we can get everything finished, rocking and rolling.
That sounds like a plan.
And folks, you probably won't hear anything for a few minutes, but we're still here and we'll be right back. Okay, and we should be live with audio. It's a little bit after
Okay.
the hour, and I know you guys, for the members who are joining, we're going to give you guys a couple, maybe all a couple of minutes to join in. And if you're out on the public webinar, you're probably still seeing this and finally heard some audio again. So,
And,
um,
and and if in your audio you happen to hear some meowing in the background, I have a partner here who wants to very much to be part of today's webinar. So you may hear her insistent voice saying, "Why are you talking to that funny screen instead of to me, where I'm much more interesting?"
yeah. Oh, that's great.
But welcome everybody. We're getting ourselves rolling here. It's a little after the hour, but that's partly to, as Chris said, to give everyone a chance to get here, to get logged in, to get set up, and we're transitioning over from our live webinar for the public to our in-house private webinar with you guys now. So, and looks like everything is working as it should be, as far as I can tell. So, I'm happy about that. So.
Well, that's a good thing. If you're happy, I'm happy, Dr. Mark.
Well, that goes both ways, because you're the one that's making the back end work here, and it looks like the page flipped the way it was supposed to. So I'm happy. It's working. So we're going to talk today about kind of moving a little bit from theory to practice here, and getting practical, giving you a structure around which you can kind of work, because we want you to be attracting your ideal client. Have you heard that from us before? Have we heard us talking about the fact that we want you to take your passions and define who your ideal client is and go after them? Well, now it's about figuring out now, how do I do that? How do I start creating some cool content that's going to engage with them? So, and that's going to be our theme for much of the month, and we're going to build it around what we're calling the IDAP system. So I will tease you with that for a second as we get ready to roll. And Chris, you'll have to, since I fly blind here, Chris runs the studio in the background here. I just look at my camera and speak to you. So Chris is going to have to let me know what we're doing in terms of the slides that we prepared and stuff like that, so I know what you're looking at.
And right now they're having a lot of fun because I kind of increased the size of the slides, so they're right now looking at Dave. Oh yeah. We're having way too.
Look, I just want to say for the record, everyone, if it looks, like things are going wrong, it's all Chris's fault, because I'm just here talking with you, having a lovely time.
Exactly.
We're just going to blame it on the. Isn't this true all the time, Chris? I mean, we always have to blame it on the IT department.
That's okay. You know what? Today it's all good.
The IT department can take it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of the things while we're finishing this today, one of the things I want to make sure everybody's aware of is kind of the way we're going to do things today. We're going to hopefully this will work for everybody. Other than I'm going to look like at this point, I think I'm going to end up looking like a floating head. Not a good scenario, but that's okay. It'll work.
There's nothing wrong with being a floating head.
It's okay. It's just I've got this gorgeous now blue background when we go live with the 3 camera shot. So anyway, so for those of you who are out there who are who stuck around on the outside, let me go. Cool. And now you can actually see us. We wave hi to everybody. You can wave hi to people, Dr. Mark. It's okay.
Hello, everybody.
There you go. So today's all going to be about attracting your ideal client. The problem is the solution. One of the things that we're going to do is we're going to end up teaching for probably about an hour would be my guess. It might be a little less, might be a little bit more. And then we're going to give a short break. And then we're going to talk about how to do a little bit of Q&A.
Okay.
It might be I'm going to tell for our members, today might be a little convoluted. We've got a better solution coming. One of the things that I always want everybody to know, whether it's a prospective member or a current member, is that we're always looking at making the solutions better and better and better. We're never done improving. So we're just we keep plugging away at it, and we're here to serve you guys and make everything better for you. So what I'm going to do now is flip over, and now we've got the kind of Dr. Mark and I and the PowerPoint kind of queued up and ready to go. As you can,
All right.
as everybody except Dr. Mark, and we'll figure out a way to get you to see all this next time, Dr. Mark, and have it work properly.
Not a problem. I'm okay flying blind. I can pull it off.
So what we've got now is as you can see, Dr. Mark and I, we've got our slide deck queued up, and we're going to start to talk to you about attracting your ideal client. The problem is the solution. And in the end, this is the IDAP system. And for those of you on the outside, I'm going to give you one last chance. If you haven't clicked that button to join us yet, please do so now, because the stream for the outside is about to go dark if it hasn't already where you're at. For people who are now looking, going, what is Chris looking down at? We are a multi-function, multi-service. Okay, I just wanted to make sure to see if we got any emails to see if anybody had joined us to make sure. On the Professional Practice Builders website, there is a way to get in touch with us. I'll have an email system up and running and do my best to check. And if you're having any problems, I can cut out and try and get you in. So for now, what we're going to do is we're going to say for the folks on the outside, hope you join us on the inside, and we look forward to seeing you soon. And your stream is, if you're watching on YouTube, it's about to go dark, and we're going to pick up and continue on the inside. So let's hope this is, yeah, I think this is the right one. I'm going to cross my fingers and hope, Dr. Mark, help.
If you're about to, if you